When we're talking about what do we need for success in our children, what can parents do, is to help foster a growth mindset, to help their children see that the outcomes and their successes are not because they're just naturally bright, but because they put in the effort and because they earn their successes. Let's talk a little bit about building a growth mindset. And this research on a growth mindset has been going on for over 15 years now, started by Dweck. Like 15 years. So a lot of people have spoken about building a growth mindset. People have taken this concept and just gone with it. And I think a lot of professionals out there have their different spin on it. But the gist of it is knowing that you can build a skill, that you don't rely on your natural aptitude, your IQ, your skills, your gifts, that if you put your mind to it, you can build a skill. Why? Because the brain is mainly neuroplastic. We have synapses, we have neurons. With practice and with challenging of the brain, we can build new pathways all the time, but there needs to be consistency and there needs to be follow through with it. You can't expect to try one thing, oh, it didn't work, and you're not doing it again because it didn't work. And you see a lot with exercising. Yes, I'm quite guilty of that myself. All right, but when we're talking about what do we need for success in our children, what can parents do, is to help foster a growth mindset, to help their children see that the outcomes and their successes are not because they're just naturally bright, but because they put in the effort and because they earn their successes. So in order to have a growth mindset, you have to develop your sense of grit. So in 2013, Duckworth began the research on grit. In order to have a growth mindset, we have to develop our sense of grit. What is grit? Well, grit is another term for the perseverance to achieve one's goals. So as parents, how do we do this? How do we go about doing this? What do we do for our children to develop this, to cultivate a sense of grit? Number one, we role model it ourselves. If you want your child to develop a sense of grit, they have to see that you do it too. Role modeling is key. Our children take their cues from us all the time. So it's very, very important that we model it. We provide that sense of value, the value system that you need in order to say, well, these are the values I have, and it comes from me. I choose to have grit, right? To have a sense of resilience. There are going to be mistakes in life. To err is to be human. But we can learn from these mistakes. Mistakes allow for learning. The brain grows, growth mindset, when it is challenged. If something is automatic and automatic and automatic, we just do the same thing, we become stagnant. But if we continue to challenge ourselves, we develop that growth mindset, but we have to want it. So we need to persevere. We need to have the courage to face our fears. Because oftentimes, fear and anxiety, that's our major obstacle. It's even stronger than the obstacle that is, say, the challenge. And if an obstacle seems so big and daunting, break it down into smaller steps. So I go back to online learning with this. If a child is so overwhelmed because of the changes, because of the platform, because of the curriculum, because of whatever it is, number one, identify the obstacle. Number two, identify the fears. Address the fears and break the obstacle down into smaller tasks. You'll find it is much more palatable and you'll be able to see success with each step, and the goals will be achievable and realistic.